Alright, I am finally doing it. I am doing Apocalypse Now 2001 Redux, the crossover from 1991 where Captain Ataman went evil and he became a villain called Monarch. But then just shy of the finish line, DC decided to swap it out and make it so that Swallow from Spit and Swallow was Monarch instead, even though it didn't make any sense. This story isn't about a hero gone evil. It's not about heroes fighting against a baddie. It is a mystery story. There isn't much life in the overall narrative beyond it being a mystery. It is about the main character and the reader following clues to determine which hero will one day become Monarch. If there was more to the story, if that mystery element was just a side note or one of several plot lines, the swap out could have been less reviled. But as it stands, the resolution is spitting in the face of the entire crossover and the fact that it ignores what came before. There were only two characters in the DC universe who they had 100% confirmed were not Monarch, and those two characters were Spit and Swallow. Anyone else was game, but those two were the only ones who were definitively off the table. Anyway, this is the first part of the crossover, and it mostly deals with introducing us to our protagonist, a new character called Nova. I like to point out when characters have popped up before in my reviews. Nova, he was one of the heroes who were the last ones standing in the final part of 0 Hours, Christmas in Time. He was co-created by Barney Bronson and Stan Jurgensen. This is his first appearance, and it was mostly Stan Jurgensen who kept Nova in play after this story. One thing we set up straight away is Nova's memory of being a kid and being saved by a DC hero, but he cannot remember which one it was. So it is like changing from panel to panel. In the depressing future that is home to Monarch and Nova, superheroes are a thing of the past, and any evidence of them is outlawed, because it's like the suede denim secret police and that. This introductory bit is a bit daft. It's just Nova musing about superheroes and the golden age of heroes, while a giant Batman and Superman fight. I was actually going to quickly just get through this opening, which is one of them dreams that I ate. But there is some element of Monarch's originally being told here. We just cannot say how reliable it is, because we have already seen characters changing between panels, and now we have symbolic, gigantic versions of Batman and Superman. But this is meant to be the day that one of the heroes turned evil, and maybe the person who saved Nova was the hero who went evil, because nobody knows which hero it was who went evil and became the evil overlord Monarch, who oppresses everyone. One day there was a big battle with Darkseid, which involved loads of heroes, and for someone who cannot remember which hero saved them, Nova seems to be able to remember just about every other hero. I mean, look, he even remembers Geodude. But what happened was, well, maybe what happened was, after defeating Darkseid, it took such a toll on one hero that they snapped and they went mental and they killed all their fellow heroes, and they became the evil overlord who rules the world with an iron fist. Sad times. Well, here's summit. here is a more satisfying resolution. Why not look back to this issue and realise that this evil force thing, which is meant to be symbolic in this stupid metaphorical dream, but why not go back to this and be literal and just say that this is Obsidian Man. It is Obsidian Man who went evil. Every other writer is obsessed with making Obsidian Man evil anyway. Honestly, there are so many alternatives you can come up with for this story, and I cannot believe they went for the absolute worst one. You can swap out Monarch's identity for other heroes, and it can be made to work. Starman, Geodude, Firelord. Firelord works really well. He had just had a power shift, and you could use that as a reason for this being his fate. Swallow, it's like someone they absolutely say cannot be Monarch. Actually, if we go back, I know we kind of take this opening bit with a grain of salt, but look at this panel here where the hero snaps and goes evil. Look right next to him. It is Swallow from Spit and Swallow. I'll be pointing out all these contradictions and clues, so look forward to that. But when we finally get out of this dream, we are in our future world. Monarch, he is the undisputed ruler of the world. And this really is like the most bog standard, well-versed, traditional Orwellian dystopia. He even has a statue. And if recent months have taught us anything, it's that the only statues are all of racists and they need tearing down. And while we are talking about barely original tropes, our central character Nova, he is the most bland hero you can find in these sorts of stories. He works for the man, but his heart's not in it. He secretly pines for escape and a simpler time. This one is really quite thin on the story. It's all about setting up Nova and this world, which I suppose in 1991 it might have been less worn out territory, but now it feels like every future world ever created. Nova has a dark secret though, like a sexual kink. He likes to buy footage of superheroes on the black market. Monarch has ruled out all these sorts of materials, so it's like contraband they sell on the sly. And here he is watching his illicit pornography. And one clever thing that they did, which obviously ends up redundant, is they are quite smart and they keep subtly reminding you of Captain Ataman while not pointing a huge arrow at him. Like he's always there in the background, like here, or in that dream he kept cropping up until the point where the shadow beam took over, when you didn't see him anymore. Should I come back? Yeah, why not? I already said that the story is pretty thin. Our first appearance is here, the third hero that Nova thinks of his saviour is Captain Atamant. And then a few pages later, when all the heroes are fighting Darkseid, Captain Atamant is there. And then on the next page, you can see him fighting Darkseid. And then, after this panel, there's just no more appearances of him. That would have been something that this book did good if they didn't screw it up so badly. The clues were in front of you. The point of a mystery is that it is solvable. You provide clues. If people solve it, that is all the better. It means you set up a mystery that people cared enough about to work out. To undo that all and just ignore everything you said at the last minute, it is the most insulting thing you can do. You just wasted everyone's time for 20 parts. We have some family drama with Nova that is very boring and so done. We have fascist police people who shoot to kill, and Nova, he is like a heathen for suggesting that that isn't a good thing. One thing is we didn't get to see much of Monarch. This is clearly to not provide any clues or hints to his identity. But when his identity is rendered pointless, it only makes it apparent that we are given nothing at all to make Monarch an exciting prospect beyond the initial mystery. He's flat out not built up. The only hook is that one of the heroes we know will become Monarch, and that one fucking aspect of Monarch they muffed up hard. We have a big hint in this little sequence though. Monarch, he does a big explosion because the only Captain Atamant story is one where he is a nuclear bomb. Also the effect, the energy effect, it matches Captain Atamant's powers. And there is an advert for the book you are reading. I love when they do that. This is art from later in this issue too. Here is a question I have never posed to you, the viewer, before. Which do you prefer? Monarch as Swallow from Spit and Swallow, or the original idea of Monarch being Captain Atamant? Don't feel you have to answer right now, or feel free to alter your opinion, since I am slowly going to look at both all of this original story and then that one from 12 years ago when they did make Captain Atamant gone evil and properly become Monarch. I won't give my opinion here, you'll hear it loads in them videos. I will say I am a firm believer in the writer's original intent being the canon. For example, that is Mr. Magnet in Van Morrison's Excellent Men, regardless of all the retcons since saying that it is not. And obviously, I think they fucked the pony up the arse with Apocalypse Now 2001 Redux. But at the same time, you should all know that Captain Atamant, he is one of my favourite DC superheroes. So, do I really want him to become a villain? I have never seen the film Logan's Run, and I know nothing about Logan's Run, but I think this is like Logan's Run. There is a subway train and secret police, and he has to save someone at a subway station, and this is Logan's Run, isn't it? This is what I have imagined Logan's Run is. Does anything like this happen in Logan's Run? Who is Logan? Is Logan the main character, or is there no one in the film called Logan? I've never seen it. I didn't even know what it is about. I just know the name, Logan's Run. Maybe Nova, maybe his real name should be Logan. His full name is Logan Run. The one bit that I kind of like is that we learn, or at least speculate, that the reason Monarch has destroyed all the records of superheroes is because, well, he is afraid that someone could learn his true identity or his weaknesses from looking at that hard stuff. Here we have a bunch of potential suspects. Notice Captain Atamant is one of the ones in plain view again. So is Starman, who would be a better alternative. But to their credit, I suppose, at least Swallow from Spit and Swallow was also visible, so maybe they just looked at this panel to choose an appropriate swap out. But yeah, it is Captain Atamant right now, pretty much for all but the final issue of this crossover. Monarch, it is written as being Captain Atamant. And whenever we do get a glance at Monarch, we just didn't really get much on his character for the obvious reason that they didn't want to tip their hand. Also, Nova, he is a quantum scientist working on some quantum energy bollocks, and he ends up creating time travel. And we get to our main scene with Monarch. He becomes aware of Nova's time travel experiments, and they finally bring the hero and the villain together. I won't keep pointing this out, but whenever Monarch is seen using his energy powers, like here, his eyes, they are pink effects, which is how Captain Atamant's powers are usually shown. This is the best scene in the comic though. Nova, he convinces Monarch that the reason all his time travel experiments have failed so far is because his chosen subjects all lack free will and desire, because Monarch has squashed all that, whereas Nova still has a spark. Monarch actually sees sense in this theory, and here is the worst line in the whole thing. Monarch decides to start prattling on about how they are not so different. You really can't do that with any two characters. So now we have a psychological subconscious battle with Monarch and Nova. I still hate bollocks like this, but even in Nova's subconscious mind, Monarch is using Captain Atamant powers. One clever thing, Nova, he has set up like fake alibis, fake motives for why he is doing this, to try and make Monarch consider him as just like a little rebel, a minor insurgent, instead of someone who is wanting to use time travel crap to gang back and stop Monarch's ascension. And now we have the transformation of Logan Run into Nova, the new superhero for 1991, but as my Punisher video revealed, not close to the best character introduced that year. That honour goes to Bucky Man, baby. Nice splash page here showing Nova, and he has gone back to the past, to the then present year of the DC universe, to get to the bottom of this Monarch thing and work out which hero will eventually become Monarch and stop that development from happening. He has the power to touch people and see their futures. Like here, he touches a criminal and sees his future, which involves killing cops, and then Batman stopping him. And then, anyway, here is the art from that advert again. And this is to be continued in a Superman annual. There is some stuff that this does well, but with the exception of introducing Nova, who goes on to have some important marks in DC history, everything here is just undone by the end of the story. They should have just kept it as it was, have Captain Atamant as Monarch, and then let people decide if that was good or bad based on the story they had told. It doesn't matter that people worked it out or that it leaked. If anything, I imagine the spoiler might actually have worked to benefit the story. I think more people would buy that last issue knowing Captain Atamant Gan's evil and wanting to know why, rather than out of curiosity to who this Monarch guy really is. Switching it around, and the choice they made, it ruins the whole crossover and makes a mockery of storytelling. I'd even recommend this on the grounds that, while this isn't bad, it is mostly made to be pointless. I give it 7 thumbs up.